And whereas more than just a beautiful piece of fabric, it was a profound declaration of the new nation's fervency for freedom, ideals of justice and equality, and courage and readiness to sacrifice. And whereas in a heartfelt tribute to our flag and the ideals it champions, the Cortland American Legion Auxiliary Unit 489, American Legion Post 489, and Elks Lodge 748 proudly celebrate Flag Day by raising Old Glory. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Scott Steve, Mayor of the City of Portland, hereby proclaim June 14th through the 20th, 2026 as Flag Week in the City of Portland, and urge residents and businesses to display the flag of the United States of America this week and throughout the year. And further, that the flag may ever remind and encourage us to honor the legacy and heroism and sacrifice made to secure and advance the blessings of liberty. And further, that it unite us in belief in the worth and dignity of the individual, the principles of liberty, justice, and equality under the law, and inspire us always toward the enduring promise of America.
Thank you.
Just real quick, I had the honor of being there the other night to do the same proclamation. It's a good turnout, most I could hear that. I appreciate it.
That is great. Our Reagan wrote a nice one about that. If everybody gets a chance to read that, that was really good too, not the flag. Okay, can I get a motion to accept the proclamation? Someone, all those in favor?
Aye.
Public comments. Is anybody here to sign the public comments?
Blake?
No. Okay. Finance report, Mr. Shager.
Start off with 24 audit. When I sent out my document on Thursday, a little short on that. We were working on getting everything finalized and I sent that out to everybody yesterday. 24 audit has been completed. But when I say the 24, I'm talking about the 24 fiscal audit. There's a single audit, which is a little bit different. It's a federal thing that we're still got to finalize and fill that out. But that's minor compared to the first part of this process. I pushed the auditor to get the financial audit because that's what we needed. Okay. This 24 audit's been filed with the New York State OSC office. It's been filed with the restructuring board along with an application. It's been filed with Moody's and it's been filed with WFIA. Our debt people are gonna send it out to the people they need to send it out to also. I did set up a meeting, working with the auditors. I tried to get him to give me a time when he can come in here to review the whole audit with everybody. And he gave me 3 days next week and we picked Tuesday, knowing that was a Tuesday that we usually meet. So that's what we did with that. And the mayor's called a special meeting for next Tuesday. For him to come in and go over the audit with you and ask it or answer any questions you may have. 25 closeout. Now that we got the 24 audit, the first step is to take all the entries we get from him that he made, put that in, and then we could work on finalizing the 25 financials and getting the AFR done. 26 budget, in the package, which sorry, I didn't send it out. I had it done last Tuesday to send out. I forgot to send it to Jade. I sent it out to you this morning. In there, wish I got it out to you Thursday, but it has all the 25 versus 26 datas that you've been getting for the last couple months. And on the next to last page of that report is all the ones that are, I'll say, over the budget, not over budget, but like has that potential of going over budget with comments made by each department, whether it's police, fire, DPW, water, sewer. There's comments in there. from last month to this month, there's one item that was added. All the other ones, were pretty stagnant. On a positive note, we talked about the amount of money that we're gonna be short on the revenue side. The state did pass their budget, including in there, there's an additional roughly $500,000 of state aid coming to the village or to the city to help offset that a little bit. Expenses as a whole look like they're in line. There may be a couple of ones that are maybe a little bit higher, but as a whole, I feel comfortable with the expenses and the department's doing a good job of managing those. It's the revenue lines that we've talked about in the past that are problematic. Other financial information in the package that this morning is a health insurance HRA report. When we did the budget last year, we budgeted $1,149,000 as HRA expenses, what we anticipated. Year to date, we're at $573,000, which is 49.85%. For 5 months. That may seem pretty high, but as I said before, the HRA, we anticipate that being hit harder in the beginning rather than at the end. On the flip side, that was sort of what I would consider good news to the city is on the claims that the insurance company has paid, they paid $657,000. Compared to what we budgeted, that's only 21%. So I expect those numbers to pick up once we start getting the HRAs claims going in as it goes up, but as of right now, that's I think a positive number, and hopefully that continues that path. There's been one member that both the individual and family thresholds have been met, so that's also a pretty good thing. The WAFIA paperwork, I got some of that in today. We're in the process of getting that all signed and documented. I'll get the bond tomorrow from the bond attorney. We'll get that signed and sent out to Washington to get that all processed. They need it by the 23rd to get this thing all closed by July 1st. With that, I gave the person that gave us a ban back in May, the 20-day notice. That ban will be paid out to 16, whatever we get, $16,178,972, I think it is. It's gonna be paid out on July 7th. I believe that's all I have here. I don't know if anyone else has any questions.
Yeah, next week I'm gonna be out of town. Can I get contact information for somebody from Insero to follow up with?
Sure.
Very good. And we had a department head who resigned. I'd like to see the cash out in terms of what they were paid.
Mayor, do we do that every month?
Yeah, that's what that form was just sent out. So that's what this form is.
That's for that individual?
No, this is all the payouts for May. So we do this, remember, it lags a month because we get to the end of May and then we'll do the end of June. Every month they're sent out. It's no different for all there. The same.
Very good.
Will the meeting, next week's meeting be open?
Yes.
You can actually watch it. I don't know where you can be.
Yeah, I've got some questions.
Okay. If you want to send me those questions, I can forward them, so I'm going to answer those questions. I mean, but if you want to send them to the director.
It might be helpful to have some of those questions for everybody to hear, so I'm gonna show them now.
Yeah.
right?
Very good.
And actually, I would suggest this, if you guys had questions for him, if you send them to me, I would forward them to him, so at least he can be more prepared. I mean, if you're gonna ask him a question, he may not have the answer in front of him, but if he has it at a time, he can be prepared for it.
Good point.
Another question in terms of process. So 24, you talked about 25. So same firm we've talked about that they will possibly do the 25 audit.
They will do the 25 audit, is what they said they would do.
Very good. And then at some point looking to hire somebody for the 26 audit.
I think we should go out to RFP after, just say, the latter part of this year. Should go out to an RFP to evaluate who's interested in doing it, what the cost is, and what do they have to offer.
Very good. And then. Do you want to hazard a guess where we might be at the end of this year? Now that 24 is in and you've made some predictions in terms of numbers for 25 and 26.
At this point, Brian, I prefer not to. I mean, I think 25 still has some question marks involved in it. 26, I could see actually 26 with a lot of different things going on, that loss gets eliminated. That's a possibility. Okay, I'm not guaranteeing anything,
Right.
but there's things out there that are being worked on that could have a real positive effect for the city. So,
That's nice to hear some optimism. Before you were thinking it could take as many as 5
when I
years.
say,
So if
to get all the money
things,
back.
you know,
To get all the money back, yes, but we're looking at a loss of about $1 million this year. There is a road that could go positive this year. Okay, there's things that have to happen,
okay,
okay, but they're not on the table yet, things that have been working on to get done, and
I hope it's a paved road, so I don't hit a pothole.
Anybody else?
Nope.
Can I have a motion to receive and file, please?
So we'll from.
Mr. Backwards, Ms. Sullivan, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Mayor's reports. So, obviously, we've got a lot of things moving on. We have a lot going on. I won't bore everybody with all the level of detail that we went into in the past. We have DPW that ended on Friday, so we're covering that position. Go over there in the morning, we're dealing with everything there. Everything's running great. We've got a great team over there. They're doing well. The positions advertised, obviously, and we have some possible good interest that is on alert. So we're working on those to make that happen. So that would be good. The other things that were attended to was the Fire Academy graduation in Montour Falls. Of course, last week we all were able to go to Chief Friedman's wonderful New York State thing. It was a great turnout, a lot of fun. I'm very proud of Chief, and they love him up there for sure, as we do here. We started our new transition plan with Plan First and ABS. Transition to move them out of our IT and move the other group in, so that's been going on. That process went pretty seamless, I think, overall. My department heads that we had involved, it's been going well. I was able to attend the esports up in Syracuse, or I'm sorry, at the school for their end of year graduation party. And I tell you, the good takeaway from there was that I felt really good about is for many years, and I think you teachers would probably echo that. A lot of times the kids say, I can't wait to get out of here, or, I can't wait to graduate. Some of the kids I was talking to, it's like, what year are you in? And say, I'm a junior. I only got one more year. This is so depressing and sad. So it was really kind of neat. And the other part that was neat is a lot of kids are in that group that typically you would maybe see in public, and you'd be concerned because they'd be very quiet with their head down and shy. But it was great to see them interact and it's a great program. I tell you, it's great to see that side. I appreciate the invite from John Herr and his group up there. They're very successful too, by the way. So we're losing a lot of kids to sports to some of that, but I think it's a good interaction, and really they're learning the same lessons that some of the sports do. The Sound of Memory grand reopening of the Portland Country Music Park outside of the city, but a lot of great things are happening out there. So there's a lot of great concerts just about every weekend, so we get a chance to do that. Following to that, CRT kicked off their season. I was able to go to that last week for the first time. Never let you down. So much fun. Great night out to be able to get to do that. The McGraw Spring Day of Caring was able to help with that in United Way over in McGraw. We met with Sucoat project meetings regarding all the paving projects and trying to work out some of the level of detail and how we're gonna handle the Court Street and our sidewalks out here. So more to come on that. Randall Middle School's Evidence Day of Learning. Again, great program. I was able to meet a couple police officers there. Our SRO, our community police officer, were a great help to make some of these kids, their parents can't get out during the day. And because they're working or otherwise, or they don't have the support to be able to have that. And it was great to be able to support those kids and be part of their day. And it was great. It was a lot of fun and a lot. And then I did a book reading with St. Mary's Kids School, and that's my favorite book to read to them. And that's always fun to get their reactions and their responses, especially one named Hux. So he was an interesting.
What's your favorite book?
It's called The Very Silly Mayor. It's about a mayor who made some unique ideas to make his police department dress like clowns. Fire department put out fires with peanut butter, and it's so there's good lessons there. They had a lot of fun with it, but when asked what was the lesson out of that, Hux made the statement that the mayor doesn't listen to it, the department has. I'm not sure if I take him home or not, but I'm sorry to dump it here, but.
That's fine.
Apartment in our house.
That's funny.
It was.
Don't forget that.
And honestly, I think he came up with other ones, but it was very interesting to see that. With that, it's
Yeah.
there. But it's a lot of fun. Anyhow, so that was my couple of weeks. So if anybody has any questions, it may be a topic I didn't hit, you know? With that, we'll go for Ward 1.
Thank you. Couple of things. DPW, I understand we had the resignation in terms of superintendent. There's been some discussion in terms of it. I'm curious in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And along with that, who is in charge of who we contact? Are we just calling the DPW number when we have questions? Because I've had questions about stump grinding, the paving that is planned, and there were some issues last year with the paving that it sounds like are being corrected this year. And we want to hopefully avoid some of the same mistakes, and also some questions in terms of parts of the pickleball courts and that whether or not that's getting the top coat. So in terms of DPW, where are we at? What are we doing in terms of the process?
Yeah, so again, everybody's encouraged to file their complaints through via the website. There's a spot on there to click on to be able to do that. That does a couple things for us. It helps track, you know, timelines on when things are being addressed or what issues, what are the issues and what they are. And they're reviewed weekly, and I'll continue with those review meetings with the two supervisors that are inside that group that are doing the day-to-day and have been doing the day-to-day. So none of that will change, none of those aspects to pickleball courts, that's youth bureau. The other issues as far as the streets being paved, we're making sure other groups are overseeing that. We met with the engineering group that we've done in the past to look at some of that stuff and oversight some of the ideas of that. They came down graciously and gave their time to be able to handle that. And be able to look at those items and how they're having shoot the grades on some of the drainage issues that we have out here to really kind of manage that the way they're proper. But yeah, and again, I think everybody has Mr. Cross' number. If you have something emergency that needs to be directed, if you don't, we'll make sure we get that to everybody. Give you a direct contact if you guys had something that was more safety, and again, always 911 too, and they'll make sure that that chain of command is reached out to as well.
And then hiring process, do you have a timeline or what are we doing?
We have so like we met with the DPW commission, they will review the candidates. Once we get a list of candidates, they can list up to 3 candidates to present for that appointment that we bring to council. So we have put that out, and we're based on how many replies we get and the quantity and quality of those replies. They have to go through the civil service. Civil service has to approve their qualifications, make sure everything is copacetic there. Once those are done, they forward it to us, and then we will make those appropriate accommodations to start the interview process. So not soon enough is the answer, but I would expect July. End of July before we get all the applicant times to get in.
Very good. The park's been around and about, and they're doing a great job in terms of having them out and accessible. splash pad, having a bathroom open is really appreciated by people from the public. And back Chief Friedman, we had 3 firefighters attend a meeting. They talked about using an AED. They were very informative, very professional, very personable, represented the department and the city very well. Was actually up at the high school for their awards a couple of weeks ago, and it was very nice, very well done. A lot of excellent graduates coming out of our school system. That's my report.
Always fun to see how those kids get those awards, and some of them get 3 or 4. I don't know how they keep up with it and get those grades, but it's good. Hey, so,
Second ward is so quiet, we can hear the freeway hum at night, which is a novelty, a summer novelty that we love. Anyway, I was really surprised and delighted to see that the parting gift of some of our fall and winter and spring neighbors of shoes over the telephone wires were taken down without my having to say anything about it. I didn't report it, I didn't complain about it. Usually it takes a few times of me coming back and saying, could you please take them down? And I mean, there were a mess of them, and I just put off dealing with it. And lo and behold, they were taken down. And I thanked Mr. Weiss, and he said, you know, yesterday was my last day, but I'll let him know. So that's super, really appreciate it. There is one more pair that I spotted, and I will report that on the website. Thank you, Mayor.
yes.
That's it from the second ward.
All right, thank you. It's been out.
Third ward, I just heard tonight that there's an issue about ducklings, which we'll hear more about. But other than that, everything is good in the third ward right now. Good.
Sounds wacky to me.
And somebody get ready to hold him down, because this is gonna be long. Fourth ward. May 27th, I attended a code meeting. The 30th, I went to the firefighters dinner up at the college, and it was great. Speedway, if you have tried to go into the Speedway on Tompkins Street from, well, either side really, but Broadway, the potholes were this deep. I mean, you could lose your car in it. And so whenever I went in, I would always tell Sparky, the manager, that, you know, there's a problem. And I heard from people in the ward that there was a problem. And he said he had contacted corporate many times, and they didn't do anything. So I said, well, would it help if I called? And so he gave me the number for corporate, and I called, and the man said, what's the store number? Well, I don't know what the store number is. I said it was on Broadway and Tompkins Street in Portland. And he listened to my spiel about how dangerous it was. And then he said, can you hold on for a second? And I said, sure. I'm still not gonna swear. And I held on, and then there was a dial tone. Yeah.
Oh.
I thought, well, you know, things happen, you're switching lines, yeah, you know, it happens. So I tried to call back. And he had blocked my number. Yeah. I have not been that angry ever in a very long time.
I wish he didn't come see me.
So I was furious. I tried a couple times to call them back, and to no avail. So I jumped in the car and I walked into his office, and I let him know how upset I was, and he took care of it. And called them and explained how important it was, you know, it was a safety issue, and gave him till Friday, right? Gave him till that Friday, this was a Monday, gave him till that Friday to fix it. And it's all fixed,
Yay.
and it was all
Wow.
fixed by that Friday.
Good.
So I don't mess with me, I know people. So I might not be able to do it myself. And then Friday, June 5th. My neighbors across the street were walking downtown and they walked behind Shea and behind New Big and then down the hill. And they said behind New Big and Shea, there was a mother duckling or mother duck sitting on a grate, very upset. And 9 of her babies had fallen into the grate. And you can picture it, you know, mom's walking along and all of a sudden it's like, whoop, 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 and they all 9 of them ended up down there. She was not happy. I called the mayor. He came over. He came over, called the fire department. The chief came with his wife. They were there. Shortly after that, a couple of the guys showed up in a pickup truck. And they moved the grate and they were all down there and needed a ladder. So then they called, we had a fire truck up there. And so one of the guys went down and handed up 9 ducklings into the bucket. And then we went and you took the bucket, over to the mom who was still upset. And mom came running to the babies and they all lined up and she yelled at them all the way down to the water. So, yes, that was the happy ending.
That's great.
Thank you and thank the chief.
Yay.
And that was the second time that week that the same group was on duty, they had to go
Busted.
save the ducks, so. We gotta have a surprise for them in some way.
Yes,
But,
not a duck dinner.
yeah, okay. Mr. Collins.
So things are quieter in the 5th ward as well with the students out. So I have some neighbors who are happy about the break from the noise. Over the weekend, I was doing flyers for my ward meeting that I had yesterday over at Beaudry Park. There's a good turnout and good discussion about some issues going on in the ward. I had a lot of questions about the street paving schedule and where things stood with that. Do we have that now, or is that?
I just met with them, the dates that the streets are gonna be paved is in August.
Okay.
So they're gonna be, that'll be all redone in August.
So I'll follow up with you on that. I appreciate it. There's a lot of concern with the crosswalks on Main Street. It's been an ongoing concern. There's one crosswalk in particular from out front of the clock tower building, the rock, to the Portland Standard building that I've raised before. You can't cross in that direction. The button is completely jammed. So I mentioned that to DPW as well, but there has not been a fix yet. There's also a question about the creek. The name of it, I'm not sure, by Sunnyfield and Fox Hollow up there.
Actually,
There's a pretty big ravine back.
perplexity.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll let you say that, but that,
Okay, see, that's.
yeah,
Oh, yes.
that creek,
That creek.
there were some concerns there. And and there's uncertainty about who's supposed to be maintaining that stretch. There's some littering issues, and I think there may be an issue with some fallen trees and things like that. So I had some neighbors raise that as a concern. There's also a lot of, especially up in that neck of the woods, issues with some of the housing authority properties. Issues with noise and disputes requiring police response. So I will be reaching out to the housing authority on that. I appreciate the police department's help there. I know there's only so much you folks can do. And that does it for the fifth ward.
Thing that respond to really quick is, DOT, we're working on the the circuit board, and we're still, there's a part circuit board that went on this.
On that, yeah, that.
There's still an issue. We're waiting for those, and I put a call in myself to make sure that both of those happen.
Okay,
Just yesterday when I found out they weren't done. We'll look into perplexity, and
and
then,
does that include the one in front of the clock tower building?
that's correct.
Okay, I think that was just a matter of the button itself, that's not placed.
So they were supposed to bring both of them down.
Okay,
And those parts are supposed to be here, so I'll follow up with that date, time when I get that figured out.
Right.
And then as far as the housing authority, it'd be nice to get police reports on activity from anything we have in code and issues that we have before we address them to see if it is a nuisance, if it's a continued nuisance property or a perceived nuisance. Be nice to get those clear. So I'd ask the chief for those, please. Okay, sorry, Mr. Beckler.
That was well worth the speech. Just real quick, obviously I attended the St. Anthony's Fest, which I always have since I lived in the city. It's a great event. Guys ever get a chance to stop down, the attendance was phenomenal. Like Pat did mention, I was able to attend the fire department's dinner. It was great. You guys are missing out on it. Gave wings to the crap as usual. And also, so, you know, you haven't even retired yet. You didn't come down and do your duties down at St. Anthony, so.
Maybe next time.
You'll have more time. But all in all, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michael.
Just a few things, I attended the Memorial Day ceremony at the courthouse park, it wasn't well advertised and, there was, just a handful, actually less than 50 that actually showed up that day. Which I was a little surprised, hopefully whoever planned that event will do a better job next year. Touch a Truck, that was a great turnout, even though the weather's a little iffy that day. I mean, I asked some of the people that were there, especially our deputy fire chief. And he said that he thought it was about 3,000 showed up. For that event. So it was a great family event and it was very well.
Getting bigger every year. Thank you for that.
Yes, great turnout. Also rode along with the mayor and police chief to the New York State Association of Fire Chiefs. We had an individual that was well deserved and recognized during that day. And Chief Friedman, that was certainly a well event that I was glad I was able to attend, and the family that was gathered for that photograph was overwhelming. And the individual that was standing there by the steps, he made a comment about all the people that were coming up for the photograph, and I said, well, he's got a large family. He said, I wish I had a family that large. So it was a really nice event. Tonight I received a call from a constituent regarding issues at the Grace House. I did manage to sit down with the police chief just before the meeting tonight. And my next stop is to catch up with the mayor at some point to get an idea of how we're gonna handle things over there. And Mr. Tobin also brought up pickleball courts. If you all recall, the finance committee asked each department to make cuts this year to the budgets. So guess what was cut? Resurfacing. So if you come up with 36,000, let me know, and we'll get it done. And that's all I have for a meeting tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
clarification, that was not a recommendation from the committee.
That's not the way I understood it.
Anybody else from the
we
committee?
did
wanna
not
add?
recommend that to be done.
No, not that. No, you asked department to make some considerations regarding the budgets.
For
Yeah,
2027,
Well, some of them started this year.
Well, that was not supposed to be the case from my understanding.
Well,
We had a
Should have probably
disagreement
made it
at a
more clear.
previous council meeting over when the cut.
That
was
has
supposed to be.
nothing to do with that finance committee meeting. Nothing to do with any of that.
Okay. Well, I apologize.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for clearing that up. But if you do come up with 36,000, let me know.
Thank you. Okay, any questions on the minutes? Get a motion to receive file minutes? Mr. Beckwith? Second. Sullivan, any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Agenda item number 1, set public hearing regarding proposed zoning map amendment in the city of Portland.
Resolved that a public hearing is hereby scheduled for the July 7, 2026 meeting of the Common Council of the City of Portland. Consider a proposed amendment to the official zoning map involving the rezoning of 47 parcels currently classified as central business to residential zoning districts as identified in the proposed amendment documents on file with the city clerk. Code enforcement. Be it further resolved, the said public hearing shall be held on July 7, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Common Council Chambers, City Hall, 25 Court Street. Be it further resolved that the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish notice of said public hearing in the official paper of the city in accordance with applicable provisions of New York State law and the City of Portland zoning ordinance.
Can I get a motion, please? Sullivan, Slane, any questions?
You go over so.
In terms of the process here, have the property owners, has this been discussed with all the property owners? And have neighbors received notice as well? Because a change from central business to allowing first floor occupancy could increase the number of residents and properties, and that could change the character of the neighborhood. In particular, on streets where there's several properties side by side.
Yes, my understanding is the property, surrounding properties have been notified. I don't know if every landowner would be notified. I'm assuming they would be. Roy's not here, he's on vacation this week. But that's a good question you could ask. But again, and it's gone through the zoning and planning boards, that's their intent. The zoning board specifically is to make sure it fits that, as well as the county, because it affects the county planning board as well. So I believe all those agencies have reviewed them as well.
Mr. Mayor, the adjoining property owners will all receive notice of the public hearing. They need to receive a postcard notice of the public hearing. So property owners on both sides, behind it and across the street, all get notice of the proposed change.
And they were notified during the zoning meeting anyways, right? They had been notified then too, right?
There's no public hearing for that. They just review it but that's not a public hearing. They just review it to make a recommendation to council. Council holds the public hearing for zoning vote change.
When
They will all get notices.
and when will those be going out?
They have to be out, what is it, the week before the meeting, they have to go out, Andy, is it?
Well, now that it's set, we'll
Get
get
them out.
those set.
We know, well added.
Oh, the postcards have been slower than they were years ago. I would be concerned about whether or not people will receive notice in time.
I also have some concerns about. Now that we're gonna be working on the audit and having a special meeting. I wanna make sure I have a chance to speak with folks who may be concerned about this, and I don't know if I will be able to do that by July 7th. And depending on when the notices go up, so I'm a little concerned about the timeframe.
Well, it's just to set a public
This year,
hearing.
set the public hearing and hold the public hearing, whether or not you vote on it that night is council's prerogative.
All right, we usually wait.
A lot of times it's, you table the vote. for
We
the
vote,
following meeting.
I usually have a public hearing, then we have a meeting afterwards, which gives, so this is giving a full month ahead. Ready, right, so there's plenty of.
So there's procedures for notification, and objection outlined in the code and in state law, and all of that will be adhered to.
Could you forward that to me just for reference whenever you have a chance?
Sure.
Thank you.
Do we know how the properties were selected? Some of them are a little curious in terms of their businesses. Funeral parlor, how were these properties selected?
I think I don't know, I don't know that, I think, that was something that's, I'm not sure Roy came up with it, or.
I think Roy went through and tried to make it. I mean, because there was some incongruity as to how they were assessed or how they were zoned, so this kind of makes it more congruous. And then the planning commission actually suggested one change because there were two properties that they felt should have been rezoned R4 because they really are R4 right now. So they made that suggestion to add those into it. But I mean, the rest of them, the planning commission went through them and they felt they were all reasonable changes. So that's their prerogative on it, but council will get a chance to look at it as well.
And again, it's part of that pro housing, I think this is some of the initiative they've asked, to have them done in the pro housing, that's, I think was the impetus, but then. Roy had picked some, and then I think planning and those guys have made amendments, and that, I haven't seen that yet, but
So the map was sent out.
as supported.
There's quite a bit of it is in the first ward. There's a lot on South Main that is directly on South Main, which makes sense because a lot of those are houses anyway. So should a business go, I talked to Roy about it, should a business go out of business and the owner of that building should that person want to create housing downstairs right now, they can't do it. And it's already in the business district. So, there's some on Groton. I believe it's Talmadge on the corner of Groton, they have both corners on the right side of the street. Those, for instance, are part of it. I personally did not have a problem with this. It's just for, future development. It doesn't mean that they're gonna be turning them into housing right away.
I can't see Talmadge being turned into a house and.
It won't extinguish any prior non-conforming use. Some of the uses of the property are non-conforming right now, even as they sit under the current zoning. And it will open it up for other uses. And both in the R4 and R2 district, there are a number of businesses that are allowed by special use permit.
One of the things when we went through the comprehensive plan the last time and created it in the central business district, you can go up higher, correct? You can build more stories than you can in R2 and R4. And some of those properties on Groton, I believe, are zoned in the central business with the thought that hopefully somebody would say, okay, we can do more in terms of going up more stories and some of the other properties as well.
I don't think there's any restrictions on height on any of those. Maybe there's a restriction on height total, but I don't think there's any restriction in those areas for height for business or that one.
Well, central business versus an R2, R4, and it's gonna, if there are houses now, they're gonna stay houses. There's less of an opportunity for it to be converted into an apartment building, something that would have more units. We are going through a revision to the comp plan, correct?
Correct.
Would it make more sense for this to be part of that? Because this is a piece of
Well, the next
bigger
step,
puzzle.
it makes more sense it is part of that, and then I think the next step would be to look at the zoning again, that would be the thought. We would put in for a grant for that following, because that makes the most sense to be able to do that, so. But meanwhile, for current development, like for example, I know the one on South Main, there was a fire there and they can't put, the building is not, it could be rehabilitated. But the cost is not really effective to not make the first floor not living space. And if you looked at the housing that's there, everything around it's housing to be that, but it's just the way it's zoned to be able to do that. So to not move that forward, I don't know that helps or hurts that. For sure, this would all be looked at and could be changed at that next one. But in the interim, just to try to do it as a more general consensus, I think that was the area to be able to make that happen.
What's the time frame like on the comprehensive plan? When would that be completed as opposed to doing this now?
Well, it would take the draft would be out next month, right?
At end of the year.
By the end of the year, it'll be done.
Looking at it.
And then by the time you did the zoning stuff, that's gonna take another year. I mean, or more, by the time you get that redone.
If this is a comprehensive plan, what would be the harm in including this? You know, so we have an overarching plan for the city, including how we promote housing, how we focus on commercial properties. If we're doing a comprehensive plan, I think it makes sense to include this in it.
That it will be. And it would be, when you did the rezoning map, you would go back through and go through the rest of them, but that doesn't solve your problems now. You know, and some of these properties, when they get moving and get like South Main ones and some of those other areas that we're talking about, that gets them moving. So we would just be consistent with what the rest of it, I think that's why it grew a little bit with the planning and the zoning board. I wasn't at those meetings, but that's what I'm understanding based on what Randall's saying now, but the point would be to get these properties that we're sitting on a house. Well, how many years ago was that fire chief? 2, going on 2, South Main? Come on.
Yeah.
2023, yeah. 4 years.
Yeah.
3.5, 4 years. So that's, we, you know, we need housing. That's the idea of this. We need to get housing. We need to get these people adopted to do that. I mean, to make that housing on there. I don't, we can't just say this one's good. That's spot zoning and it's against the law. So we have to open it up. So we're just trying to be more realistic. It can be aggressive, it can be touched, but let's move forward.
It will be readdressed in the comprehensive plan, and the comprehensive plan, as I understand it, before we vote to accept it, will be reviewed by, will be up for review, will be presented to the people of the citizens of Portland.
There'd be public hearings on that too.
Yeah, so that they can see what's gonna be changed and weigh in.
And amendments being made and then adopted. That's why Mr. Jewett's saying the end of the year, so. But meanwhile, we can fix some of the other belated ones that we have and move forward.
And allowing the first floor housing was one of the things the planning commission was really most in favor of, because first floor housing by its nature is more accessible for folks. So, I mean, opening up some of these spots that could potentially provide more first floor housing, they felt was, you know, really in the spirit of the whole pro housing initiative.
As I recall, Brian might be able to add to this, what are we trying to, we did something similar, that, first floor had to be a business and anything above that, had to be, for housing. And that's the only way we were able to get grant assistance.
That's what we did last time, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm not sure, you know, where those boundaries fell. I think we had, some kind of a district identified back then. But I don't know, maybe Brian can add to that. I don't know. It's been a while.
I don't know specifically, but so much has changed in government in regards to housing.
Yeah, you might have been on that
All
committee.
over. No, I'm not on that committee, but you look at what Ithaca's doing, they're building these huge apartment buildings.
Oh, yes.
Willy-nilly, it's totally changed the look of the city. My sister lives in San Jose and was complaining to me because her city government decided that they want more housing. So now you can build a unit in your backyard without any setback. And so she's got a 2-story unit right up against her fence. Luckily, they can't have a window looking right down into her backyard. And I said, well, she's gone to the zoning meetings.
Just so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did a lot of conversions of garages. I mean, it's, you know,
Yeah.
but there is an issue for affordable housing and this is an opportunity to make some of those open up, so. I think we should look at that part of it too.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is there may still be grants. Because things have shifted, I don't know, but
No,
that's,
that was,
Yeah.
yeah.
that was back when Brian was mayor that we went through that.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the zoning board at the time and we
Yeah.
went through all the rezoning and all that. You know, there were some areas that were, you know, you wondered, you know, why they were, where the map is and, you know, and it's all changed. So We want it to change and we want to keep improving, make things better and go with those changes. And this is one of those steps towards that, but, to get some of these properties moving, I think it'd be helpful. Than to sit on for 4 more years.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Anybody else? So again, this is to set the public hearing, then we'll have the public hearing next meeting. And then certainly we'll have more time to evolve our questions and develop ideas and solutions or concerns or suggestions on one ways to look at them or not. And then, like I said, I think some of those will probably never be touched. I think the YW's in there. I mean, I think, you know, I don't see that ever happening. So, but I don't know. So, but that's the point. If you're home, right, I just, some of that, don't see it, but it makes sense that it did. It was vacant after a year, like that house we're talking about that had a fire. If it's vacant after a year, then it reverts to what it could be. And you could make that develop that pretty easily. But it's getting to the point where a lot of these places have spent a lot of money to convert from a 2-family to a single family, let's say on the College Hills. And to get them back to a 2-family again, it's gonna be expensive. We need to incentivize that so we can get our housing stock back and to what we need to have. So again, I think this is a step towards that. With that, I'll move it for vote, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 2, set required first public hearing for the proposed fiscal year of 2026 community development block grant program and upcoming funding round to allow public participation in the grant process.
Resolved that a public hearing shall be held prior to the common council's scheduled regular meeting at 6 p.m. on July 7, 2026 at City Hall, 25 Court Street to discuss the proposed 2026 Community Development Block Grant Program and upcoming funding round, provide information to the public about the CDBG program, and to allow the public to provide input into the grant process. And be it further resolved that the public notice of such public hearing shall be published in the official newspaper of the city of Cortland.
I'll move it.
Second.
Ms. Pinello, Ms. Beckwith, anybody have any questions? And let's move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 3, set public hearing regarding proposed amendments to Article 11 of the Code, City of Portland.
Resolved that a public hearing shall be held prior to the common council's scheduled regular meeting at 6 p.m. on July 7, 2026 at City Hall to receive public comment regarding the proposed amendments to Article 11 of the Code of the City of Cortland pursuant to the proposed changes contained in the supporting documents. And be it further resolved that the public notice of such public hearing shall be published in the official newspaper of the City of Cortland.
I'll move it.
Pinello, Ms. Lane, any questions?
Can we get a little bit more detail for the public about what this entails? Because this did go before the Public Safety Commission, correct? For DPW?
Yeah, this is regarding the,
Changes to the parking laws.
yes, yes.
The parking committee proposed the changes that went to DPW commission and they approved it.
So it was the parking committee that we had internally here, and then I went to the commission. They reviewed it on Monday. I think it was last Monday, and then that's put the council.
Can it be explained for the public in terms of what those changes are? Because there's a document, but a lot of people will not read the documents that are posted on the website. I think some of these are significant.
Yeah, Chief, maybe help me, because I know you were in that meeting. I gotta recall it without a document in front of me. Just make sure I'm not missing it. So some of the parking areas that were, I'll just try to do it off. That'd be harder for me to read that.
Yeah.
Let me do that, sorry. But some of the areas that were non-parking, that weren't allowed parking streets on some of the side streets in Ward 3 and Ward 4. Some of the parking spots along Tompkins Street will be allowed to help reduce the pressure of parking on the campus hill. So there's the idea behind it. There's been a lot of, issues with parking on, coming up your word, the street, by the
Pearl.
Pearl, thank you. on Pearl and, so trying to isolate and having areas of parking, so they're back from driveways. And being able to have, limitations to those areas, and also doing, paid parking. Which would be, by the hour in those areas to again, relieve the pressure off of the campus and, and along this street up by the campus. Some of the reasons for that is, that there's some employees that are parking there and taking up transient students parking, and which is creating them to spread down farther along the side. So it's a way to control the parking, control the areas, of one side of the road being parking. I think it is some of the issues where the roads were narrow. Trying to think if there's anything else globally. I mean, that's what the intent is, be able to do that.
I have a question. It says in here that the council, that the city may adopt parking rules and rates for any on-street parking space. On-street paid parking spaces shall be created by zone and shall be clearly delineated by signage. So before that would happen, it would come before council and we would vote on it and people would be made aware and they could speak to it if they liked. Because I know that there are people in my neighborhood who are adamant about not having paid parking on the street. Yes,
Yes.
okay,
Yes, I mean, that's part of this resolution, to have that open public discussion about that, so, and, you know, it's not, and I don't wanna start the panic, it's not talking about paid parking for Main Street or any of those areas.
okay.
But it does allow council to be able to set those rates and be able to do that if so desired.
Okay,
So I think that's the rewrite the plan to law. Did I cover everything? Okay. Anybody else?
thank you.
That makes sense. Okay, so that would move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 4, approve special events permits for the Arts Off Main Festival on Portland on August 1st, 2026. Is there a motion?
So good.
Just someone added that.
Uh,
Tobin, Mr. Michaels, let me get summary.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby approve the issuance of permits as described below for the Cortland Arts Off Main Festival, August 1st, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Court Street, with a street closing from Main Street to Church Street, sound device permit without fee. Sponsored by Cortland Arts Connect. Be it further resolved, the city clerk shall issue said permits conditioned on fulfillment of applicable state and local code requirements and on approval of by the chief of police for the closure.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. The great event, so we're excited to have it here and,
Who made the motions? I'm sorry.
Tobin and Mr. Michaels. And, yeah, it's exciting, so it'll be last year, hopefully with the Army Street that cleaned up next year, get it paid. All right, was that, we'll move it, please.
Councilmember Tope.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello. Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 5, approve special event permits for Cortland IDA celebration on July 25th, 2027. ADA, I'm sorry.
Resolved that the city of Cortland Common Council does hereby approve the issuance of permits as described below for the Cortland ADA celebration sponsored by Access to Independence to be held July 25th, 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Gaiman Park. Issuance of the special event permit and a sound device permit without fee. Further resolved, the city clerk shall issue said permits conditioned on fulfillment of applicable state and local code requirements.
There's a motion, Ms. Lane. Mr. Conlon. Again, great event, great program. Access does a lot for a lot of different people. Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello. Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 6, approve special events permits for the Cortland High School Alumni Weekend on July 25th, 2026.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby approve the issuance of special event permits as described below. It's the Cortland High School Alumni Weekend event sponsored by the Alumni Association, July 25th from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Main Street, with street closures between Court Street and Tompkins Street. Special event permit, sound device permit without fee.
And motion.
I'll move it.
Now, Ms. Sullivan, hopefully your Cortland High graduates, so you'll be there. So you can make a day of it, go to the ABA festival and then go right to the walk down the street to the high school alumni. So it's a great event to put all the high school group years of graduation to the high school together the first time. They're doing an award ceremony because they're doing work at the school, so the award ceremonies are gonna be there, so it's pretty excited to have this downtown for this year. Okay, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 7, approve sound device permit for use at 23 Pern Ave on June 27th, 2026.
Resolved that the city of Cortland Common Council hereby approves and authorizes the issuance of a sound device permit with a fee of $25 to Thomas. I apologize, Tom. I stumbled over the last name. Solowski, for use at his residence on Saturday, June 27, 2026, between the hours of 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. pursuant to section 193 of the city administrative code.
Very nice.
For his graduation.
Lucky graduate.
Yes. Can I get a motion, please?
So,
Mr. Tobin, any questions?
He only asked for 4?
He asked for less. I expanded it to give them
I
some.
was just telling we should spend it more.
It's
That's what
the-
he had, okay.
It's the Cortland High School Modern Band will be performed.
it was so cool.
Thank you.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman. Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 8, authorize agreement with Toma for administrative and program delivery services relating to CDBG grant for housing rehabilitation.
Resolved that the city of Cortland Common Council hereby authorizes Mayor Steve to execute an agreement with Toma Development Consultants for program delivery services as part of the community development grant, block grant, in the amount of $134,250 to be paid from account CD 8668-54000. Contractual general pursuant to the consultant's response to the request for proposal, pending review and approval by the New York State Office of Community Renewal.
I'll move it.
Ms. Pinello, Sullivan, any questions? Can you move it, please?
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman. Councilmember Pinello. Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 9, authorize a application for New York's Main Street Anchor Grant Program funding.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council hereby approves and endorses the submission of an application to the New York State Homes and Community Renewal for funding through the through the 2026 New York Main Street Anchor Grant Program in an amount not to exceed $500,000 for improvements to the property located at 35 Main Street. And be it further resolved that Mayor Steve or his designee is hereby authorized to execute and submit all applications, certifications, and other documents necessary to carry out the grant application on behalf of the city of Portland.
Okay, motion. Sullivan, Mr. Tobin, any questions?
Do we know what they're thinking of doing?
But for the Anchor Grant, I don't believe so, but yeah. Right?
So we don't know what'll happen in terms of what it'll be converted to? What improvements could be made?
No, I'm not sure, what they're doing now.
That's what they're gonna get the $500, how much they're gonna be able to do.
Right.
With a maybe. Probably got a wish list.
I was probably saying an architectural firm that figured this out for
Yeah.
them, so.
And which property is 35 Main?
Corner of Central and Main, the vault is downstairs,
Okay.
correct?
That's,
About the red property?
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I know there was rehab, talked on the roof and some other things, but I don't think they have development plan yet. For the second floor.
I mean, certainly we can approve this and then they have to bring everything else forward anyway. And plans, I mean, they gotta get designed and all that done.
I thought for anchor grants, you had to have some things ready to go. And you had to have some plans and had to have some funding that you could show that you could cover additional costs.
And they will, they still have to provide all those documents and all that information to be able to get it, but this is to apply for that as being the anchor grant. We didn't have another property that was ready to go yet, that was ready for the anchor grant, that's within the city area, so we decided to move something forward. Cross standard buildings, not quite there, and this would not be enough to cover what that needs to be, and there were some improvements that need to happen in this corner, and, you know, ideally, we would like to go down Central Ave and do some for, get a grant for that too. We've been discussions to be able to clean up that, help do something else as well. But this would be a start.
Would it be possible to postpone this a meeting? I think given the city's finances and the murkiness of what this plan is, I think it would be a sign of good faith to get a little more clarity in terms of how those funds are gonna be used.
There is a timeline and, there is no cost to the city for doing this program. It's 100% grant funded. But you don't award it, they'll give it to somebody else to do that. And, you know, and like I
I
said,
don't think we're out of it.
yeah, we're not, they're putting out all the applications. We're just awarding, we would just be the master either way, if it does get awarded. But it's on them to get the benefit to do that. Like I said, if usually there's other projects that are further along in development, but they're gonna put it all together to make it happen. And that's on them to make that, also make it a good application. But it needs to be renovated on the upstairs floors, and I think that would clean it up and make things better. New roof, it's a main staple historic building downtown. We should try to invest in helping them. Anyone else? Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello, Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 10, amend the 2026 adopted budget.
Resolved that the city of Cortland Common Council does hereby amend the 2026 general fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table. I'll waive reading it unless requested.
Okay, I get a motion.
I'll move it.
Now, Beckwith. Any questions?
I think this is a good move. It's going back to,
Yeah, that way it should do that, for sure. All right, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello, Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 11, amend the 2026 adopted budget.
Resolved that the city of Cortland Common Council does hereby amend the 2026 general fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table.
Do you have a motion, please?
So
Mr. Beckwith. Ms. Lane. Any questions? Move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello, Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 12, amend the 2026 adopted budget.
Resolved that the city of Cortland Common Council does hereby amend the 2026 general fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table. And be it further resolved that said budget amendment shall not result in any additional cost to the city of Portland, as all expenses related to the special patrol officer positions shall continue to be fully reimbursed by the City of Portland School District.
Any motion, please? Ms. Sullivan, Mr. Conlon, any questions? Okay. Over please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello. Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 13, accept K-9 grant.
Resolved that the City of Portland Common Council hereby accepts the grant award in the amount of $5,000 from the National Police Dog Foundation for the purchase of Police K-9 Addy. Be it further resolved that the $10,500 previously expended from account TEO 2101 for the purchase of Police K-9 Addy shall serve as the required matching funds for said grant. Be it further resolved that Mayor Steve or his designee is hereby authorized to execute any grant award and agreement documents necessary to accept and administer said grant.
Scotland, Mr. Beckwith. Did a great job fundraising, chief. I think we're just gonna let you do the budget next year.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations for that. And we got that award or that grant. That's great to have. And, can we request, Tommy Baum to be here on the 7th meeting, maybe, to do an introduction?
Yeah, I don't see why not, but I don't.
Okay, make sure that is definitely the meeting. Someone has the meetings in July, that'd be great. All right, appreciate that. Okay, any questions? Board, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Definitely aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Agenda item number 14, authorize FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program Regional Radio application.
Resolved that the City of Portland Common Council authorizes Mayor Steve to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Virgil Fire District for participation in the FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Regional Radio Grant application, including a required local cost share to the City of Portland in the amount of $19,138.71 from account A 3410-540501. And be it further resolved that Mayor Steve or his designee is hereby authorized to execute any grant award and agreement documents upon request of said grant, upon award of such grant.
I got a motion.
I'll motion that.
Mr. Conlon, Ms. Lane. So Deputy Chief Reynolds, can you tell us what our best decision is and why we're doing these next 3 items? Can us give an overview?
So, the quick overview is the FEMA radio grant. It's huge for us. We were operating in the radios that came in the original radio stuff back in 2016-ish. They extremely outdated. We're working with the Virgil Fire District. This is one of those combined grants. Cost us is about $500 because 10K Grant Rating LLC gives a county discount of $500 and then a rewrite discount of $500. So out of pocket is $500. So if awarded, this will be our 3rd attempt at it. It'd be huge and save us way more than $500. So great. Next one, the Knox box. Our infrastructure for Knox is outdated. The software, when our friends at Plan First came in and took a look at our laptops, they fixed them. And we can't access our Knox program anymore because we had one dinosaur laptop left. And that doesn't support the software anymore. So we can still get our keys out of the box. We can still get in places. But this is actually a target for the fire prevention and life safety grant this year. And with what we're looking to do to actually help commercial businesses and private homeowners who have the Knoxes on their property to get the special key there. And then the last one.
That was.
Yeah, so it's all going through 10K there. He again retired out. This deputy chief here had some great success. Grants have kept us alive. One of the numbers we actually researched when we went from the finance committee is just over $4.5 million in grants over the past 10 to 15 years for the fire department.
Wow.
So it's all great stuff. It's obviously a shot in the dark. You don't know who you're competing against, but as you guys mentioned before, the city's fiscal shape, grant money is definitely a nice item.
Okay, so we'll go to the first resolution. Somebody else, any questions to that? Okay, move it please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 15, authorize FEMA fire prevention and safety grant program application for a Knox key vault replacement.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council authorizes the fire chief to apply for and if awarded, accept a FEMA fire prevention and safety grant for the replacement of Knox key vault units for fire apparatus and staff vehicles in the amount of $46,540, consisting of a federal share of $44,323.81 and a local 5% share of $2,126.19 to be funded from account number A 3410-542002 in the department's 2026 operating budget. Be it further resolved that Mayor Steve or his designee is hereby authorized to execute any grant, award, and agreement documents upon award of said grant.
I'll move it.
Okay, Mr. Bell, Mr. Collin, any other questions? Please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 16, authorizing agreement with 10K Grant Services for grant writing service.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council hereby authorizes Mayor Steve or his designee to enter into an agreement with Penn Cape Grant Services for grant writing services related to FEMA grant applications in an amount not to exceed $2,000. And be it further resolved that the cost of said services shall be charged to account A 3410-541500 in the 2026 adopted budget.
Ms. Lang, Mr. Conlon, any questions, any more questions? Thank you, Deputy Chief Reynolds, appreciate it. Please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 17, designation of sole source vendors.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council hereby designates the vendors identified in the accompanying table as sole source vendors for the specific goods and services described therein. And be it further resolved that procurements for the identified goods and services may be made without competitive bidding or quotation requirements when supported by the sole source documentation maintained by the originating department and in accordance with the city procurement policy. And be it further resolved that this designation shall apply only to the goods and services identified in the accompanying table and shall remain in effect until amended, suspended, or rescinded by the Common Council. A waive reading of that, less asked.
All right, get a motion, please. Ms. Sullivan, Mr. Michaels, if there's any legal questions, Mr. Randall can answer the understanding of this. Does everybody understand how this works?
Yeah, so basically. The council is being asked to prove that. These. Providers can be utilized without. Reviewing and going through other. Other price quotes, and the argument is that each one of these is a sole provider.
They're a sole source possibly for those type of services. That's the point, yes.
Which is not really the case. There's two on here. You know, the first one, it talks about timeliness, urgent nature of required repairs, which I would think that does the city still have a carve out that in the event of emergency. So for my day job, we have to, above a threshold, we have to do the same thing. You have to go and you gotta get, sometimes there is only one, but we're still required to go out and prove that that is the only one. So I would encourage us to continue the process of looking for lowest, because if we do this now, and if a competitor comes into the market, there is no opportunity to pursue that competitor.
Well, obviously, if there's another competitor, they want to pursue, we want to do that. This does not isolate against that. It just allows it to be able to make it happen so that the legal recourse of not being able to hit those sources or not being able to have it. So you can't do it every time you're going out and you're not having any luck.
Each of the departments is required to maintain the sole source documentation, so in the event that any vendor was not to become a sole source, they would have to let council know that it would be inappropriate for that to continue to be a sole source, so at that point, council should rescind it. So I mean, most of these, as you go through it, you know, if it's a certain type of equipment, that there's a regional vendor that they can be the only ones that are allowed to service that type of equipment, they're clearly a sole source, they're probably never gonna change that. Other ones, you could see somebody come into the market that would change that, so that's up to the departments to make sure they're staying in line with that. And if, say for the first one that Brian mentioned, somebody were to come into the marketplace that could fill that need, then it would no longer be a sole source and we follow the regular procurement process.
Okay.
And maybe
Most of this stuff is water and sewer. There are some other things, but majority of this is water and sewer stuff. So when you're talking a sewer plant, they have a Cummings engine, a problem. So you have to go to a specific vendor. And I'll take part of the blame on this, that I've been pushing them to get quotes. Okay, and this is the better option for them to do. So they just say they have to go to Kester for something, they have to go to a Cummins supplier. But it speeds up the whole process for them. They're not trying to do anything. Joe was doing everything above board on all this stuff, and Mike was too. We're just trying to get it so it's all documented what they're doing.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example, that's something we're living with now for the first one, just because we're picking on it and we know him, so it's not gonna be. The dump truck tailgate's not working at the Woods Water Treatment Plant, they can't get the sludge up to the landfill and the door's not opening, we need to go down to have it repaired. You know, Homer Ironworks or somebody else that's in the community that, or somewhere else that's close by that can make shit so they can do their day-to-day functions. Certainly, there's other criteria that could be happened in there, but by the time you get other people that can give estimates and not be able to do that, it would be that many days down. Well, we had an incident with the fire truck, for example, as well, that we couldn't even drive it up to Syracuse to get it looked at for something else, which we ended up doing. And still waiting, is that right? But, yeah. So that gives you, so that's kind of an idea. Anybody else?
Which were the two that were areas of concern? I think you mentioned two that you didn't feel were.
First one and the last one.
Okay. And would there be harm in taking those off for now and moving forward with the ones where there aren't objections?
I don't have any objections. I don't have objection.
I don't have any question.
I was sure. Councilmember Tobin did, I would appreciate a little more time to look into it. I wasn't familiar with those two being potential variances from the others. So I'd be happy to move forward if we were to revisit the other two next council meeting, when I've had a chance to review that.
Now, let me try to answer. Grant tax, okay, because I questioned it too, okay?
Yeah.
But the design that we put on all the kids' uniforms with the Cortland logo that they have, that was designed by Graph Tax. Okay, so technically that design, the way I understand it, they own that design. We couldn't go to another store and get the same design. Okay, but that's why that's the way it is. And doesn't mean that you can go, that we could design our own things and go to anybody, that's a possibility, but that's how it's being utilized today. Like, if they're just buying T-shirts or something like that without that, that's not part of it. You know, if they're just writing, you know, swim or lifeguard, they don't have to go to them to do it, but when they're using that logo, that's where they have to go.
Makes sense.
I do appreciate the clarification there.
It's a computer program that they have to work to do the embroidery, and if you go to another source, they have to create that program for you, then you'll have to review what they've done, then you gotta make sure that they spell the wording correct, and you know, time is of the essence on some of these uniforms.
Well, but if this is something that Graph Tax developed,
Oh,
then
absolutely,
you couldn't
yes.
go anyplace else.
Oh, same with the self screening, they have the screens already made, so they
Right.
just, you know, print off 200 T-shirts, it's up wood.
It's their intellectual property, the
Right.
actual design. you couldn't have that design because that belongs to the.
Right, it's patented, in
Yes.
other words, right, yep.
Would there be harm in just removing those two, so I can take a little bit of look at it before these? I'd be happy to vote next council meeting, assuming there aren't any other concerns that come across.
So you wanna do an amendment to this resolution?
I would appreciate it if you could. Is there a reason why that would create an issue?
Again, I just gave you two examples from the first vendor that were immediate needs that we need. Those are two good examples, solid examples of where we used them in two different areas, and they go to the wastewater. Pipe breaks and we have to weld some 3-inch pipeline, it's just better to do it. They still have to do prevailing wage, and still all those criteria have to be done. And those are two of the three only local vendors on the list. So I don't know if we're targeting the local vendors or not.
Well, why don't we vote on this, and if you wanna vote no, go ahead and vote no. Cause I don't have a problem.
They're good companies. Nobody is saying that they are not. The question is whether or not the city is getting the best price in terms of.
Would want that design, we have to go with graph text, and it's for one program. And then it seems to me it would be very handy to be able to go with Homer Iron Works, because those sorts of problems do crop up as emergencies or time dependent. And do we have another iron?
No,
Yeah.
there isn't.
I don't think there's many, but in 2 counts.
So
That's not even a question.
Oh, then do it.
All right, let's move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Nay.
Councilmember Silliman,
I,
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 18, declare fire department equipment surplus and authorize sale by auction.
Resolved that the common council hereby declares the 2011 Chevrolet Tahoe as surplus and grants permission for the fire department to sell the vehicle through Auctions International, with any proceeds from the sale being placed in budget account A3410-42665.
I move it.
Now, back with questions. Moving, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
I,
Councilmember Pinello, Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith, Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 19, accept and recognize donations to the youth group.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council, on behalf of Mayor Steve and the Youth Bureau, expresses its gratitude for the generosity of the donors below. And be it further resolved that the common council hereby accepts the donations listed below and appropriates them to the account and for the purposes designated below. Donations from the UAW Local 1326 in the amount of $700 for the summer concert series. And donation from Lime Hollow Nature Center for $50 to Porch Fest.
Back with Sullivan, how great is it that Lime Hollow non-for-profits given to the Porch Festival? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
great that is. Thank you for them.
big support for music. This has always been a musical city.
Yes, it is. Great talent comes from here. Did you see, by the way, off topic, but did you see there's a county song now that they did for Coleman County? Have you heard
Really?
that?
No,
really.
Yeah, I have to, can you get Jackson for me? There's a song that they just came out with the country music part. That's for Portland County. And it's very inspirational to have both those songs, saying how great
That's
we have it
great.
here.
That
We
is
really do have it great here. Take time to recognize that. Mr. Joe?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
I,
Councilmember Pinello, Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith, Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 20, accept and recognize donations to the police department.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council, on behalf of Mayor Steve and the police department, expresses its gratitude for the generosity of the donors below. Be it further resolved that the common council hereby accepts the donations listed below and appropriates them to the accounts and for the purposes designated below. a donation from the Cortland County District Attorney's Office in the amount of $1,000 towards the K-9 program.
Yay.
I'll move it.
Now, take over, this was this truly from the office or the district attorney himself?
The office.
When they give donations.
Individuals.
So, you guys got it from everybody, I don't even, not even legal. No, just.
Off the record.
Again, thank you for that, I think that's great.
Once approved, then we can say it's illegal.
Okay, move it please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Hi,
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
I,
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Okay, last, I'll take a motion for adjournment. Ms. Sullivan, second, Mr. Collin, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody else can stay?
Don't run, Brad.
I